Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with the final video, part 3 in my continuing series of Kershaw twin knives. It turns out there are 18 in all, and I didn't know that, so let's go ahead and close out this series with these last 6 knives that you see in front of you. These 2 were designed by my favorite, R.J. Martin, and these 4 were designed by Lee Williams. The first name that I couldn't remember who designed this knife is Tim Galian. Once again, the Kershaw Junkyard Dog 1 and 2 designed by Tim Galian. That was the designer's first name. Just wanted to get that back in there. So let's go ahead and continue. First knife is the Kershaw Zing. Now, you can still get this knife, but the knife looks completely different than what I have in my hand. The knife that you're going to get still has the same handle, still sports the same handle, G10. But the main difference is you no longer have these grooves on the knife, like you can see them on mine. And I actually have 2 of these. 2 of both of these, actually. This knife that I'm going to do next. I've got this version in orange and this version of the knife in gray. So I had to have that. But yeah, you will no longer see the knife with these grooves on it. It's just a regular flat grind without the grooves. And the knife is no longer a manual knife. It's a spring assist. This is the manual version of the knife. So if you see this version of this knife, this is now a collectible. So it's the Kershaw Zing, model number 1735, designed by R.J. Martin, made in the good old USA. It's called the Kershaw Zing with the grooves on it. There's the word Kershaw on it. The handle has the sort of G10 cloth-like feeling. You know, I guess that's what you want to call it. I believe, actually, I don't think this is not G10. I'm sorry. This is actually Zytel. Same with the backspacer. The backspacer is not G10. It is Zytel. All Zytel all the way around. Very smooth knife for a knife that only costs about $40 back in the day. Now you can pick up the new version, which is a spring assist minus the grooves. I believe you can pick it up for about $30 in a clamp pack or in a box. You can still get it in a box. Kershaw Zing. Steel is 14C28N. Okay, the new version of this knife is not 14C28N. It's actually MOV 13. So let's go ahead and move on to the big brother. This is the Kershaw Zing, model number 1730. So they really are twin knives. This is the 1735. Yeah, and this is the 1730. So this is the big brother. Same feeling as the Zytel version, except this is actually G10 inlay on top of that. Once again, it's got the grooves on the knife. And on this knife, on the handle portion, it's meant to mimic the grooves on the handle. So they put these sort of grooves all the way around the G10 inlay, and it goes all the way around the back. Pocket clip is, let's see, I believe it is tip up, tip down carry. This knife is made October 07, yeah, I think. This knife is probably one of the smoothest knives, budget offerings that I've ever come across. I mean, this guy is ridiculously smooth. You have never felt anything. Look at that. It falls shut, okay, and the knife is like $80 and it freaking falls shut. I've never had that. This is not a ball bearing knife. This is a phosphor bronze washer piece. I'm not even sure it's phosphor bronze. It could be just regular washers. But But yeah, it is not a ball bearing knife, and I could do this freaking all day. It is just a hair, probably a hair, stiffer than the tilt that I own, which is ridiculous. You could do this all day. So, the Kershaw Groove by Ken Onion. So we move on to the next two knives. I love these two knives, the way they were designed. These were designed by Lee Williams. This is the Kershaw Overdrive 2. Also one of the last knives that was released in the gray box. They continued to release it for a short time in the brand new red box. So real small knife, another office knife, like the Kershaw Boa. I'm not going to do the specs on this. You can see it's a small knife. It's not like an official review or anything. The steel on it, I was wrong. This is the second Mauve 13 knife that I own in the collection. But this one's discontinued, unlike the Kershaw Volt, which is not discontinued, and you can still get it. Yeah, HCR Mauve 13. This is the Kershaw Overdrive 21770. Really tiny knife, perfect office knife. What's interesting about this piece, it doesn't run on bearings and it doesn't run on washers. It runs on I'm going to call it a teeth pivot, meaning inside this knife, there's a little tiny wheel inside the knife with spokes sticking out of it. If I could describe it, it's kind of like interlocking, you know what I mean? If I could do that. And the knife will interlock into these grooves. And as you spin the knife, the little tiny wheel inside spins and allows the knife to pop open like that. It's called, I guess, an overdrive pivot. I believe that's probably where it got its name. Kind of hard to describe, but, you know, if you could find a picture of the inside of this knife, you would see what I'm talking about, about the teeth. So it's kind of like spokes on a wheel, matching up against each other, and then you flip it, and then the knife, you know, flips open. So that's actually an interesting design. I'm surprised they didn't keep it. As you can see, the flipper is sort of a mechanical hinge rather than an actual flipper. So, yeah, so that's how that works. Kershaw Overdrive 2, really cool little office knife. So this is the Big Brother, same knife. Only difference is that it is a frame lock, not a liner lock. You can see it is a frame lock. I think you can see the wheel a little bit inside of there. If I hold it up right inside there, it's a little wheel. You can't see the spokes, but yeah, it operates on a pivot, and it makes it fairly smooth. I think it's an interesting design by Lee Williams. He does a lot of stuff with the mechanisms of the knife to kind of change it a little bit, do things a little bit differently, make it more, you know, functional, but yet still artful in a way. So there you have it, the Kershaw Overdrive 1775, 14C28N, designed by Lee Williams. This knife came out in April of 05. So you can see most of the knives that I own, they are brand new, but they're also old. And now for my final offering of the evening as I close this twin knife collection out. These are the Kershaw Energy knives. That's spelled the letter N and then Ergy. Reason being is it's another Lee Williams functional design where the blade almost mimics a front flipper. As you can see, the flipper is all the way up at the top of the tang there. And what happens is you flip it, you press this little tang here. You flip it, then it just completely disappears into the knife. But actually, you can actually take that, and if you turn it upside down, well, you can't do it on this knife, I don't think. But yeah, if you take it, there's the hinge. It's kind of rickety a little bit. It moves inside. That's what I was trying to get to. The hinge kind of moves. It's an interesting knife. Not very pretty looking. I mean, I look at this knife and I think about the military for some reason. You know, it's just got this green army look. Like this is a knife they would give privates entering into the military or something. You know, it looks like something, you know, that would fit alongside, you know, a in a barracks somewhere. You could find something like this in there. Not really pretty, but very, very functional. Blade shape is nice, though. I'm going to call that a regular drop point blade. Really pretty, really nice. Really tiny screws on that. Usually, you don't, I mean, you can barely even see the pivot on that thing. So yeah, he designs things differently. So this knife, I believe it does run on washers. Probably not phosphor bronze, but does run on washers. Most of the knives back in the day were manual. Spring-assisted blades were not yet popular. They did have a few during this time, but they had not gained popularity until 2012, when they almost got rid of all the manual knives and replaced all their pieces with spring-assisted pieces for quite a short time. And now, of course, with knives like the Kershaw Flourish, they're going back to the manual stuff, which I think is really nice. So there you have it, the Kershaw Energy, designed by Lee Williams, model number 1740. This one was September of 07. Again, just like the Storm, it's got this Tech Trek on it, which is that kind of carpety type feeling on it. Very comfortable to grip on that. Probably not aesthetically pleasing to look at with the color. Maybe it would have been a lot nicer if they maybe changed the coloring on it, maybe. But the feeling's sort of like a rough sponge, I guess, if you want to say that. So here's the Big Brother. Big Brother really is big. I mean, he's giganto. Many more people actually, back in the day, they preferred the little version as opposed to the big one. But Lee Williams came out with the big version. As you can see, the big version is a liner lock as well. And I think that might have been the problem with this knife, is that they didn't make it a frame lock like Lee Williams did with the overdrive knife, the larger overdrive knife. I always felt he should have made this knife into a frame lock. That way it wouldn't be so bulky. People probably would have bought it more. Frame locks are much more popular than liner locks in many ways. It is a very smooth piece, though, I'll have to say that. No blade play on that at all. That noise that you're hearing when I close it, hear that? That's actually just the tang moving around in there when I flick the piece. Very similar knives, just this one's bigger, that's all. But you can see the liners in there pretty well. I don't know if that's an attractive feature, but you can certainly see the liners pretty well in there. And probably one of the few knives where you can plainly see the detent ball sticking out. I hardly ever see detent balls in knives, but on this knife you could practically see it. I mean, it's right in there. Interesting. So there you have it, my Kershaw twin knife collection for your viewing pleasure. And in case any of you guys are looking to pick up any of these knives, either as a user, or maybe you might want to consider starting your own twin knife collection, you know, obviously you're going to wind up mimicking mine. You don't have a choice. They didn't make any others. But yeah, so there you have it. The Kershaw Twin Knife Collection Part 3. It has been a ton of fun owning these knives because, you know, it's always fun to have something in your pocket that people have never seen before. Because while these are safe queens, I do carry them in my pocket. I don't use the pocket clips on these, and I don't use the knives, but yeah, I do carry them. I mean, I can't resist not carrying that. I mean, this guy is so freaking smooth as hell. I've never, look at that. The damn thing falls shut. And it's a budget offering. That's what makes me laugh. I can't believe. Probably one of the reasons why I'm crazy about R.J. Martin, but I don't know. Maybe it's just, and I can guarantee you that it is not just this particular knife. I'm pretty safe to say that it's all of them. Like I said, I have this version, same knife in the gray. I did a video on it, I think. If I haven't, I'm going to. That'll be another video. So there you have it, the Kershaw Twin Knife Collection, all done and completed in 3 parts for your viewing pleasure. This is the Knife Shark guy, Omar, signing off, hoping you will find one of these 18 pieces. If I could, I'd bring them all out, but I can't, in your collection. And I do hope you'll find one of these pieces of sharp art in your collection. This is Omar, the Knife Shark guy, signing off. Thank you so much, guys, and God bless. Have a good evening. Please comment on my videos. Any comments would be great. I'm not getting enough comments, so can't say that enough. I am going to try and get better at this, maybe cut down the videos. So, in any case, yeah, please comment, please subscribe. I have 116 subscribers. I didn't think I'd ever even reach 100. But, you know, times change, people get added on, and hopefully you're all still watching. And I will see you guys in my next video. I do have another knife coming, so be on the lookout for that. This is Omar, the Knife Shark guy, signing off. Have a good evening, and God bless.